the children's book, Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day? Well, the other day I felt like I had poor little Alexander beat, and honestly, the thought of running away crossed my mind. But with COVID restrictions, I couldn't travel anyway, so I had to stay put. In today's episode of Coffee and Conversation, I'd like to talk to you about what you can do when you're having a horrible, terrible, really bad day. And if we're honest, I think we would all say that we sometimes have bad days. Days when we feel like giving up or wishing Jesus would come back right now. Do you know what I'm talking about? Now, the Bible warns us that we'll have bad days. In Ecclesiastes 7:14 it says, "On a good day, enjoy yourself. On a bad day, examine your conscience." God arranges for both kinds of days so that we won't take anything for granted. When we have one of those bad days, we need to know how to respond. And one thing that can help is to look at things from a different perspective. I read a great quote about perspective. It said, "Trouble is like a pebble. Hold it too close to your eye and it fills the whole world and puts everything out of focus. Hold it at a proper viewing distance and it can be examined and properly classified. Throw it at your feet and it can be seen in its true setting. Just one more tiny bump on the pathway to eternity." Sometimes we need to step back and look at things differently. The second thing is to not let your feelings control you. I read about a dad who was going to work, and as he was about to leave, he said to his wife, "Tell Pete," that was their son, "when he gets home from school to rake the leaves in front of the house if he feels like it." Then after taking a few steps towards the door, he turned and added, "Tell him he better feel like it." Feelings play an important part in our lives, but we should never let them control us and let them determine what we do or don't do. When we allow our feelings to take over, a life of ups and downs is a result. The third thing we can do when we're having a terrible day is to act instead of react. The mother of 6 children walked into her house one day to see all her children huddled together in a circle. She approached them to see what had evoked such an interest, and she could hardly believe her eyes. To her horror, in the middle of the circle of children were several baby skunks. Well, she immediately screamed at the top of her voice, "Children, run, 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 get out, get out, get out." At the sound of her mother's alarm voice, each child quickly grabbed the baby skunk and headed for the door. The screaming and panic, of course, set off the instinctual danger alarm in the skunks, and each of them quickly dispelled its horrible scent. Each child in the house itself was doused with an aroma that lingered for weeks, regardless of the intense scrubbing and use of disinfectants. Sometimes when faced with difficult situations, we react instead of act. We need to remain calm instead of overreacting and possibly making the situation worse. One more word of advice for those bad days is to go to God for the strength we need. I remember someone praying for me one time and they said, "God, I thank you for Pastor Connie. Please help her because we all know she can't do anything without your help." I wasn't sure if I should be offended by the prayer or thankful, but the truth is we all need God's help. And it's when we start trying to do things in our own strength that we get in trouble. So if you're having a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day, remember, keep things in the right perspective. Don't let your feelings control you. When things come your way that could cause a stink, act instead of react. And remember, you are not alone. God will give you the strength that you need for whatever He asks you to do. Don't try to do it in your own strength. I'll leave you with one more verse from a man who knows all about bad days. The Apostle Paul in Romans 8:18 said, "I consider our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed to us." I want to thank you for joining me today. I hope you've been inspired and encouraged. Take care, stay safe, and let your light shine.